Hello, welcome. We're live again on a Thursday, 3 p.m. in London, 4 p.m. where we are in Central Europe, and 10 a.m. in Eastern USA. And that means it's Thursday. Got the time right, didn't get the day right. Thursday Q&A live with me, Phil Morse, here in the Digital DJ Tips studio. We are the world's leading DJ school, and we are here every Thursday at this time to give you an hour of free DJing advice. Take it or leave it, it's up to you, but we're here to help you. So please ask questions. We're live on YouTube, we're live on our Facebook page, Digital DJ Tips, also our Facebook group, Global DJ Network, and we're live on Twitch as well. So lots of places that you can be watching and joining in today. That said, the best place to follow this is on Facebook, and the reason for that is that when you ask a question underneath the Facebook live stream, it remains there when the live stream finishes, and then my team and I can get to you afterwards and help you if we couldn't help you live, because a lot of people ask questions live and we don't get a chance to get to them all. So as I say, we're here in the studio today. The gear we've got set up is a Numark NS4 FX, but we've also got this system here, which is the Dillinger Labs wireless system. So actually here I've got the output from the NS4 FX going into this, which is a transmitter, and then that's going to go through to here, which is a receiver. Obviously it's next door, so there's no need for it here, but this receiver typically would be a long way away from this, and then that is fed into my PA speaker. So this is a way of getting your audio to jump a long distance, whether or not you can actually have a physical cable, because it means you don't need a physical cable. It's low latency, 14-hour battery life, really nice system. We've been reviewing it today, and that's why I've got it set up. So maybe you've got a question about wireless DJing. Actually, we just published an article on the website, 5 modern technologies that are making wireless DJing possible. We cover all kinds of stuff in here, so there's a video there as well. Maybe there's something in this realm that you'd like to talk about, or whatever it is that you want to talk about. However we can help you in your DJing, do come and say hello and join in. Ask your questions and we will try our hardest to get to you. So without further ado then, I've reinstated the comment cam. Do you remember the comment cam if you're one of our regulars? We used to have a camera where I could sit at the big computer and see your comments more easily, and I kind of stopped it because I didn't want to keep sitting down and getting up again, but actually I think it's better because I get to see the comments and have a better chance of seeing what you're asking and answering it properly, and also it means I can put the comments on the screen, which I always liked being able to do. So this is returning to the comment cam. We haven't done this for a little while, so let's see if it works first. So here we are. Well, the camera works, that's one good thing. Right, well, we are live, and there we go, the comments are live as well. So hello to, good afternoon from a sunny Netherlands. Oh, I'm getting no one's names, that's interesting. I wonder why I'm getting no one's names coming through here. We might have to do this all incognito today, but then again, I could do what I normally do, which is just dive into the system settings and try and figure out why people's names aren't appearing on the system as we're live, because that's the way I like to do it. Hey, why mess around with trying to figure things out beforehand when you can just do it live? But actually, I'm not seeing an easy way of doing that. So I'm not sure where everyone's names have gone. They're not coming through. How sad. I'll have to have a look elsewhere to find your name. So that's Mixmaster G saying good afternoon from a sunny Netherlands with thunderstorms going on there. So cool. Right, okay, so we're looking for questions here. So the first question I have is from Alex. Again, I can't put your names on the screen, not sure why. But anyway, it says, is there a good cost-effective alternative to show control / CDJ setup? I'm not sure what you're asking there, but if you want a good alternative setup to CDJs, then the XDJ-XZ or the XDJ-RX3, if you don't need all the functions that you get with the XZ, are good ways of getting it without spending a massive amount of money. So if that's what you're asking there, Alex, then that is the way it works, and that's how you can do that. I'm just going to hit refresh on this actually and see if I can see if I can't get your comments to all come up with the names. Maybe there's just a glitch there. No, the names aren't coming up at all. Anyway, we don't care, we'll figure it out. Hi, how do I connect my S4, which is a Traktor DJ controller, and have 2 turntables also connected, thus giving me 4 decks? It's easy. Plug your turntables into the back of the S4 and then set the channels at the top to be the extra decks. You can even use them with DVS. That was from David Rowan on YouTube. So yeah, no problem at all. Get your S4, plug them into channels 3 and 4. There's a little switch at the top for selecting phono, and then you can just play normal records, or you can set it up so that you can use Traktor DVS as well that way. So you could then control your software using 2 turntables as well, which is a really nice way of doing it as well. So we are here live, and I'm just answering questions. You know the score here. We're sat in the studio. We've got all kinds of gear and stuff going on over here. We've got the Numark NS4 FX setup with the SKAA Pro enabled Dillinger Labs wireless system, which I've been playing with today. So maybe you've got questions about wireless stuff. We've got the Digital DJ Tips website and stuff all there on the screen, so we can talk about anything we've been covering on the website. But more importantly, we've got your comments coming through on the comment cam, and that means that I can chat to you from here, from the desk, and answer any questions that you might have. So this is from Jimmy in Canada, who just says, hi Phil, and hello from Canada. And Jimmy says, thank you for everything you do. You've helped me a lot. Jimmy, it's an absolute pleasure to help you. That's what we're here for. Is it best, here's a good question, this one comes up a lot. Is it best to store music on the laptop or on the hard drive? And this is coming through from True Orleans. So this is a good question, and it comes down ultimately to what flexibility you need. There's without doubt more flexibility keeping your music on a hard drive that's separate, especially nowadays, because your hard drives are, I've got one here, the computer's going to scream if I unplug it, but I don't care. You know, they're tiny now. There it is, this little SanDisk one. I used to have Focus there. I think I preferred it when I had Focus there, so that I could hold things close. But anyway, little hard drives like this SanDisk are cool. They're a really nice way of carrying your music around. Obviously they're tiny now, there's no moving parts. The DJ software sometimes doesn't like it, or you need to figure out how the DJ software looks for your music to get your software to work with an external hard drive. If you don't care about that, if you just want it all to be simple, I still think keeping it on your computer is the best bet. And then maybe have a backup solution, well, definitely have a backup solution, so that you know that if anything happens to the computer, then you're not stuck with all your music disappearing, right? So you should always have a backup anyway. So this is from You Don't Like My Music, who says, my laptop's hard drive is starting to fill up with my own tracks. What's the best way to back them up or store them to free up some space? So we are back to this question here about storage once we've got our music on our laptop. Well, firstly, you say your own tracks. So I'm going to guess that you make, well, I know you make music as well, actually. I would say you don't have to keep the massive WAV versions of everything on your hard drive. You could just have a 320 MP3. I would still say get a bigger hard drive, but also no DJ needs more than a few thousand tracks, and any modern laptop should be able to hold more than a few thousand tracks. So really, you shouldn't need to have an external hard drive. But if you are going to back up, you know, I'm a big fan of Dropbox. Dropbox works really well. If you're a Pioneer DJ Rekordbox user, they've got some really good cloud features now that use Dropbox. So there's lots of ways that you could potentially use cloud backup, and you don't have to use Dropbox. You can use Google's Drive, whatever it's called nowadays. You could use iCloud. It doesn't really matter what you use, but Dropbox is pretty good for that. So we're live, people. We are ready to chat. DJing could be any of the big areas of DJing that we cover here at Digital DJ Tips: gear, music, techniques, playing out or promoting yourself. Here is definitely a question about music. Now, I don't think this will fit on the screen unless our system's very clever. Oh, it does, but you just can't read it because it's tiny. Anyway, I can. It's from Craig, who says, when you are swapping the bass with the incoming outgoing tracks, and then you keep the beats going throughout your mix or set, can you give me ideas to allow for tension and release, especially release? If you've got a bassless part of a track, when can you decide to allow that to play instead of adding the bass of the incoming track? Basically, any ideas about breaking up the set? Okay, so look, let's just strip this back to basics for people who don't understand what we're talking about here. When you're DJing, let's go over to a DJ controller. It's not actually plugged in, so I can't actually demonstrate this. But when you're DJing, you will generally be DJing with 2 tracks, and as you mix the new track in, you probably have the bass turned down on the new track, and you'll mix it in and you mix it in and you mix it in, and then you'll either turn the bass up on the new track because the bass is already finished on the outgoing track, or you'll swap them over like this. And that's because we don't really want too many low frequencies going on. We don't want 2 kick drums pounding away, and we certainly don't want 2 bass lines competing with each other. And as long as your system has a decent bass cut control on it like this, that's a great way of making sure that doesn't happen. And so once you've done that, as soon as you put the bass in on this track and out on this track, you effectively have moved, all other things being equal, have moved the emphasis over to the track that's got the bass full on, and then this one's a lot easier to fade out without you taking all the energy out of the room. And I think what you're asking, Craig, is, you know, tension and release is something we do a lot in DJing. Tension and release is all about getting people thinking something's not right here, or this can't carry on forever, what's going to happen next, and getting that unease, getting that expectation, getting that tension on the dance floor, and then releasing it. One great way that happens in pre-produced tracks is they have a breakdown, and then it builds up to a drop, right? And the tension builds up and 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 up, and there's drum rolls and there's rises and there's sound effects, and bang, it releases into the drop, and that's the bit everyone came for. And so this is a big part of the way we DJ. It's a big part of the way tunes are made. If you are a James Hype fan, you'll know that a lot of his DJing is based around emphasizing the tension and release in tracks. But the point is that there's tension and release inherent in what we just discussed. So if you turn the bass down on both tracks, there's going to be immediate tension because there's something missing, and people know that, and they're like, well, when's the bass going to come back in? As soon as you bang the bass back in again, you're releasing that tension, assuming that the track isn't building, you know, assuming everything else is equal, because everything's as it should be. I'll give you a really good example of that, a mistake from my own DJing life. I was DJing once in a club that I was resident at, and there was a problem in the amp room where the amplifiers were all stacked up, and the aircon failed. It was a hot night, and then it got hotter and hotter and hotter in there, and the amplifiers cut out. Now, if you know anything about PAs and sound systems, when amplifiers cut out, the ones doing the hardest work are the bass amps, and they're the ones that went first. So one by one, over a course of literally just a few minutes, all our bass amps cut out, leaving just the tinny high speakers in the venue, and that introduced immediate tension on all levels, by the way. You know, management, DJs, staff, and of course clubbers, because everyone's like, something's gone wrong. And so there was immediate tension in the room, and this tension stayed for, I don't know, 45 minutes while we tried to fix it out, running upstairs to the flat, getting portable aircon units and setting them up, turning the bass amps off to let them cool down, and then putting aircon in there. And when we were ready, they were like, do you want to turn the bass amps on? I think they're ready now. And I'm like, no, wait a second. I'll tell you when to turn them on. And then we deliberately took even more bass out and the volume down, and then started to play a track with a big build. And so there was this very tinny, low volume build happening, and people were like, what the hell's going on? We were introducing massive tension into the room, taking the volume down, so it was like something was really wrong. And I'm like, so at this point we had no bass, so it didn't matter whether the bass amps were on or off, and we then signaled over to the amp room, okay, put all the bass amps back on, and they're like, okay, they're back on. And then we went back to the desk, and then we were like, you know, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, bang. We put all the bass back in and all the volume back in, and I've never seen a club go so mad as when we released the tension in that room. And that was done using bass. So it's a long-winded way to get back to you, Craig, and your question, to talk about tension and release with bass. And the trick is, when the bass isn't there, there's generally tension building, and when it is there, because everything's how they should be, the tension has been released. So if you are switching tracks with the bass lines and you want to add some tension, yeah, leave the bass out on the track that's currently playing until you're ready to drop it in, and then drop it in. And you'll find that hopefully that will help you to manage that. But there's no rules there, so you don't have to, you know, when we say use the bass controls to switch bass, it's up to you what you do. But always record what you're doing first, and that'll give you a chance to hear what it sounds like. Right, we're live, so lots and lots of questions going on in the comments I can see. I'm going to pull another one up now. This one is from Benny, who says, hey guys, tomorrow I am debuting back in, tomorrow is my debut after DJing back in the 80s to the early 90s. I got the jitters at the moment, just trying to make sure I do a good job. Thank you, Phil and the crew. Well, listen, Make sure you're as aware as you can be about the venue you're playing in, Benny, who's going to be there. Make sure you know the time you're playing, turn up early, set up early, make sure you've got the first 15 minutes of your set sorted out so you're not going to be worrying about what to do as you get your feet. And you will find that you enjoy it. It's like a fairground ride. You go on a great fairground ride. How many times do you see kids getting off fairground rides and saying, again, because they didn't really enjoy it the first time because they were so scared. They want to get on it again and enjoy it again. So try not to do that. Try to relax into it while you're still DJing and enjoy it as much as you can. Banksy has got a question here. I'm pretty sure it isn't the Banksy. Banksy says, do you think Denon will give you the option of changing the waveform to RGB? So this is engine DJ controllers. It's the only thing putting me off getting a Prime 4. Currently using Tractor Pro on an S3, thank you. No, I don't, but I don't think you need to worry about it. The way the waveforms work on Denon DJ and Numark Mix Stream, in other words, engine DJ empowered equipment, is the same way that is now available as an option on Rekordbox, which is they give you 3 frequencies with 3 colors. I think they're white, blue, and orange or brownie. And it works really well. So I don't think you're going to need the RGB, and I don't think you'd miss it. This is from, hello Danielle, nice to see you, who says, I have a second Mac now. Lucky you, Danielle. We've got 2 here as well. The one I'm talking to you on now and the one over there that does all the work in the studio. So good on you. Good on you for having your 2 Macs. Anyway, Danielle says, I have a second Mac now as I cannot stream to Twitch with just the one computer. I serviced it recently, but it still has a hard time doing everything in broadcast situations. A detailed update, please. Reduce your resolution. Take your resolution from 1080 down to 720 if you're currently on 1080. That in itself, that'll probably fix it for you. It just can't cope, and that's the way it is. So the biggest thing will be resolution, unless your up internet is the issue. And it could be that it's not your Mac that isn't coping. It could be your up speed internet isn't coping. But it's going to be one of those 2 things. So let's know how you get on there. So this is Mixmaster G saying, the wireless system that you have set up there, how is the latency? How is the latency affected by broader range, and are these things battery charged? So Mixmaster G, thank you for that question. And let's talk about it then. Let's talk about the wireless system I have set up here in the studio. So it's by a company called Dillinger Pro, and it's the same technology actually that's built into Soundbox speakers. This is a Soundbox Go speaker. They've also got the Soundbox 3, which is bigger. But all of those speakers have got a technology built into them called SKAA, S-K-A-A. And this is a wireless tech that allows the speakers to talk to each other and also to receive audio from SKAA-enabled DJ equipment, or any equipment, but in this case it would be DJ equipment. Now, no DJ equipment has got wireless transmitters built in. This isn't Bluetooth. This isn't Wi-Fi, this is a proprietary system called SKAA, S-K-A-A. And what it means is you can have very low latency links between Soundbox speakers and, as I say, into the speaker. Now, no DJ equipment has got built-in SKAA transmitters yet anyway, but this is a SKAA transmitter. This is called the SKAA Danny. It's the transmitter version of the 2 boxes I have here. And you plug your output from your DJ controller into it, you turn the thing on, and then you start playing. And it's got balanced TRS inputs. It's also got a through, which is nice. So you can plug local speakers in as well using the one output on the back of your DJ controller if you wish. And you turn this on and it broadcasts via this aerial on a special SKAA system, S-K-A-A, to this one, which receives it. And for our testing today, we've done a review today, so that's going to be coming out soon. For our testing, we've just got one of the 2 stereo outputs plugged in to here. You can also plug headphones and run separate mono outputs and all kinds of stuff in here. But we plugged it into a local speaker here, just like I say, 1/2 of a PA system, so that we could test it. And so your questions are, is it battery operated? Yes, it is. The batteries are very, very good. They last about 14 hours, which is awesome. They tested it to about 50 meters indoors. There's no uptick in latency when you separate the units by that distance. It's the same latency going on. And it's got 2 latency levels, if you like. There's SKAA, which is 38 milliseconds, which is too much for DJing. And then there's SKAA Pro, which is built into them when you press the kind of link button twice, which reduces the number of units that it can transmit to 2. which is fine for DJing, and gives you 19 milliseconds latency now, I tested it with this. I tested it with my pair of headphones here, listening to a track coming off one of my decks, and then listening to the same track coming out of the speaker here, using their best latency mode. And it's good, but not perfect. I would certainly say if you're DJing and you want to manually beat match and so on, have a local speaker near you that is wired directly into your controller. For having like a pair of speakers out on the dance floor, perfect. The latency is low enough for that not to really worry you, as long as you've got a good monitor speaker nearby. But they're very good. I was quite impressed with them. So anyway, there's a review of these coming. They're the Dillinger Labs Danny and Streetheart. They're called. Danny is the transmitter, Streetheart is the receiver, and it's a wireless system that doesn't use Wi-Fi, doesn't use Bluetooth, and would be useful for if you habitually run long XLR cables. So let's say you DJ in a bar, and they've got the amplifiers and speakers are indoors, and they've got a couple outside pointing to the terrace or whatever, and it's a beach bar. It's a lovely sunny day, and you want to just take your DJ gear down onto the beach. Well, with one of these, you can do it. You plug the receiver in near their speakers and plug it in like you would normally do DJing, and you take the transmitter, battery-powered transmitter, down to the beach with you, plug it into your gear, especially if you're using something like a Denon DJ Prime Go, which has got a battery in it, and you could be sat on a sun lounger DJing for a whole bar, and it's being sent wirelessly over to their speakers, which is really cool. So yeah, we've enjoyed playing with that. Right, let's jump back then to the comment cam. Thank you for that comment there from Mixmaster G. Loads and loads and loads of comments coming in. We can never answer them all, but that said, I will try my hardest, but do ask them on Facebook if you want us to get to you afterwards, because that's the easiest place. So someone on Twitch, if you're on Mac OS, I just gave you a link for a tool to let you do that. This is a chat going on with You Don't Like My Music to try and fix what you were talking about earlier. So it's always good to see you chatting away, not needing me in the comments. A Twitch user talking about the issues with streaming to Twitch for Danielle. On Twitch, there's absolutely no reason to stream at 1080 because 720 is fine. Twitch will not prioritize your higher streams unless you're partnered, so your views will not be able to downscale. So that's bad if they're not. It's a great if your viewers are not a great place for signal, because they've got to receive your 1080 as well. So it looks like 720 is the best way to do this on a Mac. So thank you for sharing that. Here's a quick one. What material is the Pioneer XDJ-RX3 made of? It's made of it's got a metal chassis and plastic externals. It's very similar to the way the Pioneer CDJs and stuff are made. We're live, and that means I'm answering all your questions. We're live on Twitch, YouTube, and both of our Facebook group and page, so please do ask away. I'm trying my hardest to kind of battle with our new comment system here. There's a good one from Matt, who says, are the batteries replaceable on the SKAA system? Yes, they are, Matt. The batteries are replaceable on the SKAA system, which is cool because it means that you after a few years, when they wear out, you can just unscrew it and put new ones in. I was very impressed with the SKAA system, so there we go. So this one is from someone on our YouTube page. Says, hi Phil, thank you so much for all you do for DJs. Well, you're very welcome. My question is, I just bought a Pioneer XDJ-XZ, and I want to know if you offer a class or video on running videos from this. You can't run videos from it. It's not got video capability. The only way you could do it would be by plugging in a Rekordbox laptop and running videos via the Rekordbox software. And no, we don't have anything in particular to help with that, but that would be the way that you do it. So this is from Christian, who says, what are your thoughts on combining different DJ gear brands in your setup? For instance, Pioneer CDJs and a Denon mixer. It's not the end of the world, but Pioneer CDJs and Pioneer mixers are designed to work together. Denon SC6000s and X1850 mixers are designed to work together. So I'd stick with that. I mean, if speakers are fine, get any brand of speakers, any brand of headphones you want. But I would say mixer and decks, probably stick with the same brand, just because they look nicer and they probably have got a few functions that will work better there. So this is a great question from Peter. What are the pros and cons of Vestax controllers? The pros are they were made by an awesome company. They were ahead of their time, and a lot of people are still very fond of their Vestax equipment. The cons are they haven't been made for years, so you won't be looking for updates or customer support from Vestax because there's none of it out there. So this is from DJ, oh I love your name, DJ Incompetent, says I'm searching for outside shindigs of 10 people. I want a subwoofer for outside shindigs of 10 people. I'd like to hit below 30 hertz. And Maths says the power needed is 100 watts RMS. I'd go for that. Should I look into home theatre or monitor subs instead of PA subs? No, I'd always get a monitor, a PA sub if I was you. I mean, you could get very small ones that you could double up in your home, but I'd rather buy a small PA sub and double it up in my home than buy a home one and double it up in a party, because it's far more likely that it's going to last a lifetime that way. Right, so Damien, I'm going to scribble this down. Thank you very much for this question. Can you please talk us through how a DJ like Phil Morse is actually mixing, not cutting classic disco? And I will pass that to our mix deconstruction team, Pri and Steve, and see if they can have a look into that and produce some training for you around that. So thanks for sharing that with me. So John says you might want to check out the Alto Professional Stealth Pro wireless system. True diversity and incredible signal strength. So we will have a look at that. What's the latency like on that? Do you know the answer to that? Let me know. This is Mixmaster G having a chat with John, but I'm interested in that as well. So John, if you can tell us what the latency is there, then do so. Right, let's go and see what else we've got that we can cover off for you guys and girls live. And this is from someone on Facebook says, I'd like to see a rundown on HDMI transmitters or different ways of running video from DJ software to televisions, wired or wireless. Wow, what an idea. I will have a look at that and see what I can do. It's certainly a niche thing, but it doesn't mean we can't cover it. Here's one, this is on YouTube, and this is someone wanting to know about managing playlists. It's a big one, certainly we get asked a lot. It's SHNL, who says, what is the best way to manage playlists? I create playlists in folders on my PC, but I end up having the same song in multiple folders, and this consumes storage memory. And that's because you're doing it utterly the wrong way. And I'm not saying, I'm not having a go at you there, SHNL, but that is the wrong way to do it. So here is how you should do it. Let's go and look at some DJ software. So hopefully I can talk to you about how to do it by actually looking at some real software. So I'm going to dial Serato up here. I've not got a massive number of playlists on here, but I'm sure I can use it to demonstrate what we're talking about. So basically, let's get to the software. So this is Serato. So here is a Serato collection, music collection here. This is actually Tidal I'm looking at. Let's just say I don't think I've got very much music in here. If we turn Tidal off, I don't think we'd find very much music in here at all. I think this is just my like few tracks that I use for demoing stuff. So let's just turn the music off there, see what we've got. Right, I've got 2 tracks, so that's not really going to help us, but hey, we'll have a look anyway. So look, this is how you should do it. You should have one folder on your computer with all your tracks in. So for instance, you could on your desktop have a folder, and you probably wouldn't keep it on your desktop, you'd probably keep it in your music folder or something, and you'll call this folder My Music. And in this folder, or My DJ Music probably, because it's separated from any other music. And in this folder, you're going to put every single track that you get. And you're not going to worry about anything else. You're going to dump them all into one folder. Then inside your DJ software, you're just going to import that folder. You're going to go to wherever you keep that folder. You're going to go to My DJ Music, and you're going to import that folder into your DJ software. And all the music's going to appear down here. And then you're going to make playlists in your DJ software, or crates as they're called here. So this could be, your playlist could be, you could do it, well, there's loads of ways you can do it. You can divide it up by decades, you can divide it up by big genres, you can have club and chill out music. Or the way I like to do it is just to have, this, what date is it on Saturday? What date is it today? It's Thursday the 19th. So this could be Saturday 21st club set, 21st, 22 club set. Now I'm going to go through all my music and I'm going to pick the set for Saturday. I think I'll have that one. I think I'll have that one. And then next week you'll do Saturday the 28th club set, and so on. And then you'll have all these sets building up. Now remember, you can have folders in here as well. So you could add a folder and put all your music into a nice neat folder down here, so that you're not, all these club sets aren't clogging stuff up, just like you currently do on your main computer. And you can also have smart playlists, which are really cool because smart playlists let you have rules. And your rules could be if the genre is house and it was added in the last month, put it in this playlist. And then down here, you'll say recent house music and stuff. So it doesn't really matter. You know, we could talk for a long time about the best way to use playlists, but the point is you can have the same track in lots of playlists. You can have auto-populating playlists going on down there. And the truth is they're all in one folder in your DJ music folder, wherever you keep that. So the organization is all going on in your DJ software, which is absolutely the way you should do it nowadays. A good comparison, and if you're a photographer, you'll know what I'm saying here, is your photos. So if you're doing if you're dumping all your photos onto a hard drive or whatever, you don't try and sort them out individually in files and folders on your hard drive. You do it inside your photo organizing software, right? And it's the same with DJ software. The best place to do it is inside your DJ software, where you can make playlists and smart playlists and so on. And that way you're not making copies of all the music. It's just an easier way of doing it. So unless you've got a good reason not to, you know, some people, one difference is some people do like to dump all their music into a folder, but then the beginning of the next year, they'll start a new folder for that year and dump all that music into a folder. So they might have, you know, over a 15-year DJ career, 15 folders of music. And they just like to have the years separated. I'm not against that, but if you're gonna have folder structures on your DJ laptop, then have them very simple. Don't try and do what you were just saying then, because as you say, you're gonna end up with copies all over the place. It'll take a lot of memory, and it's gonna mess up when you search. You search in your DJ software, there are 15 copies appearing of one track, which is no good. So that's the big switch that you have to make that work. Right, let's get back to our comment cam. Thank you for that question. So this is from someone on Twitch. Why don't you use Melon for streaming these? The comments are spot on and you'll be able to get all the comments up. Oh, it's a long story why we stream the way we stream, but it's pretty fantastic, the system we have here. It lets us do all our live filming and all kinds of stuff. But thank you for the opportunity to discuss that with you. We're actually reviewing Melon at some point soon. It's a broadcast software for live streaming because it's a great way of doing your DJ sets, for instance. So thank you for sharing that. Right, so this one coming in from Damien, who says, hi Phil, I love your Q&As. If I want to incorporate filters like Daft Punk into a live DJ set, what equipment would you suggest? I have a XDJ-XZ, and would you add an external filter? No. Your filters are absolutely fine on your DJ equipment. There's nothing that you need to do extra. Just use the filters you've got. The filters that are built in are fantastic, these filters here, but also you've got filters on the effects as well. So the effects here are very limited, but you've still got a high pass and a low pass filter here with a beats control for the LFO. But on bigger DJ gear, you've got all kinds of filters. If you're using a Pioneer mixer, you've got all kinds of weird and wonderful stuff built into that. So yes, you see high-end DJs and production teams using all kind of equipment to do all kinds of things to their DJ sets, but really there's very little that you can't do on modern DJ gear, filter-wise or effects-wise. Certainly you get very close to what you see the utter pros using. So I'd say just use what you've got on your existing gear to do that kind of thing. Right, okay, so back to the comment cam. Selector is talking about streaming DJ controllers and says the easiest streaming DJ controller is the Roland 707M, a controller we love. Just plug and go live, no further settings, go to what platform you like and click on the app when you go live. So here's a question from Heshan. And Heshan says, how do you play live sets to make the floor bumping for 3 hours? So one of our DJs on our team, Jazzy Jeff, he talks brilliantly about this in his course, Jazzy Jeff's How to DJ Right. You need a beginning, a middle and an end. So your DJ set you need to think about those three parts. But also you can't just build the energy up and keep the energy high because people will get worn out. So you have to build the energy up and maybe dip a little bit at the end. But then within that, you've got to do these little micro sets where we've talked about it already today, tension and release, tension and release, tension and release, going all the way through. It's a good idea if you're playing a 3-hour set. It depends upon the crowd. If it's a real purist tech house crowd, then hey, you can play tech house all night. But if you're playing in a bar or a commercial environment, you definitely want to switch the music up a little bit as you go on. Think about how you're going to do that though. Don't do it randomly. And think about that tension and release. That can certainly help you. Here's another question from SHNL who says, what does Serato DJ have over virtual DJ? Also, is DJ Pro AI sustainable for gigs? So to answer the second question first, yes, you can play gigs with Algorithm's DJ Pro AI. What does Serato have over virtual DJ? Nothing. They both do basically exactly the same job. And virtual DJ has actually got more than Serato. It's got real-time stems and stuff like that. Serato's probably got better effects. I think virtual DJ's weak point is its effects, but you can plug VST effects into virtual DJ if you want to. Serato is probably more tightly integrated with the gear it does work with, but virtual DJ works with more gear. So, you know, it's pluses and minuses. If you are into virtual DJ, by the way, and you want to know what DJ controllers to go for, I was actually chatting to the virtual DJ team quite recently, and they were telling me all the integrations they're excited about at the moment, and we actually tested a few out here in the studio to come up with our 2022 version of our regular post. We do these for all the DJ softwares, but this time it was for virtual DJ with our 5 best controllers for Virtual DJ 2022. Virtual DJ works with pretty much all DJ controllers. It's the way they like to roll. So in this, we list the 5, which are the Numark Mixstream Pro, the Denon DJ Prime 4, the Pioneer DJ DDJ Rev 7, the Pioneer DJ DDJ 100, and the DDJ Flex 6 from Pioneer. They're the current 5 that we think we should draw your attention to that work really, really well with Virtual DJ. So while they are, you know, that's a Serato and Recordbox controller, that is a Recordbox controller, that's a Serato controller, that are both Engine DJ standalone devices. Well, so they all work with different software, but guess what? You can use them with Virtual DJ, which, as I say, is kind of the way it works. So yeah, any of those on Virtual DJ would be a fantastic controller to use, and Virtual DJ is great software. It's used by about 10% of our audience. So our audience is divided up between about 30%, 35%, Recordbox, same amount for Serato, and then about 10% for Traktor and Virtual DJ, and then the rest is kind of divided out among the others. So quite a lot of DJs use it, and of course, it's a lot of DJs' favourite second program, because a lot of DJs started on it, moved on to something else, but kept Virtual DJ. Okay, so more questions, more live questions. I am sorry we won't get to everyone in this hour, but look, as long as you're asking your question on Facebook, we will get to you afterwards because they stay there. So that's the best thing I can advise, is to go onto Facebook to ask questions. Do you have any advice, says Danny, on using the master cue on the older DJM 900 Nexus? Oh, it's not that. Oh, okay, I see. I remember I know what you mean. The model before the current one. I heard it is post-master. So how do you quickly get the master and cue volumes equal? No idea, Danny. Danny's on YouTube. If someone's a DJM 900 Nexus user, please go help Danny there. I can't remember, Danny. We've had the Nexus 2 5 years now. It's so long since I've seen the old one. Let's grab a comment from DJ Don Boy on YouTube, who says, which RCA cable do I need for my DDJ Rev 7? The 3.5mm RCA cables don't fit into the master out, but do fit into the master out, but don't fit into the booth. I want to record audio from the controller with my Roland Go mixer. Okay, so a Rev 7, I'd love to pick one up and show you the back of it, but mine is could I go and grab the Rev 7? You know what? Why don't we go and grab the Rev 7 and I can talk you through this. I can talk you through this directly. I'm going to have to go off camera to do this because the Rev 7 is sat over here on my big shelf, which has got every controller you could possibly imagine on it. I need to get a shelf cam, don't I, so that you can actually see all this lot. But hey, we've got enough cameras here already. Here we go. This is the Rev 7. Let me put it down here and zoom in on the back so we can talk about what the outputs are on this. So basically, you've got 3 types of output here, and this is a lesson for people who don't know about outputs on DJ controllers. Anyway, we'll try and cover off, more than the individual question here. So there's 3 types of output. There's the master, the booth, and the balance master. So this is how it works. Your master output here is simple RCAs, so don't call them 3.5s because that'll confuse people. These are called RCA cables. You will plug in an RCA, this kind of plug right, to these. They're quite often red and white, the RCA plugs. So you'll plug those into there, and that goes off to wherever, usually a mixer or something. If you need to run from here to a PA system that's maybe 15 meters away or something, you're much better off using these, which are the balanced outputs, which are XLRs, which are a big, chunky, you might have seen similar on microphones, that kind of cable. And then the other one you've got is a booth output. Now the booth output uses these kind of cables. These are TRS cables. And this is like the big version of a headphone socket, right? But actually, you're not carrying stereo because these are both mono. They both add up to a stereo. Reason that you're not carrying stereo is that the third, if you like, because these have got 3 bits of metal separated by these 2 little bits of plastic, the third wire, if you like, in here is shielding the other 2 to give you really clean sound. So this is basically another version of this. You see that's got 3 pins, that's because it's the same thing. So these are both mono, but it's called a shielded cable or a balanced cable. And that means, again, you can carry a cable from here that's longer without degradation in sound. These being unbalanced, you'd only use a short cable on, which is fine if you're running to a nearby mixer or whatever, but not for long leaps. So you've got balanced and unbalanced here. Now, if you want to record your DJ set on this, I would, assuming that they're free, and I think they are from what you say, plug into the booth output. So what you're going to need to plug into your little Roland Go would be, I'm trying to remember what that's got, and I think it's got the same as this, hasn't it? 2 RCA inputs for audio. It might not have. It might have just a single little input that's a little bit like the headphone socket that you used to get on your phone before they stopped having them. In which case you would need a 2 TRS cable, which would be a pair of these, to an 1/8" headphone input if you're going to plug into here. I'm pretty sure, and someone technical on the call can help me, I'm pretty sure if you plug an unbalanced cable in there, it will work, because that might be easier to buy. You won't get the benefit of the shielding. So you're basically going to want a cable like that. Now, look, you can get cables that carry any of these to any of the others. If you're going to do it properly from balanced to unbalanced, you can get boxes called DI boxes that'll do it all properly. But frankly, just plugging in a quick recorder, it'll work if you just get a lead that's got these on one end and whatever you need for the other one on the other end. And just test it. I think the chances are very high it'll sound fine. What you would normally do, I would say though, would be plug your master into your speakers and anything else into the booth that you want to record from. And the reason for that is that you get 2 volume controls on the top of a controller like one of these. One of the volume controls is for your master and one of them is for the booth. There's the master one there and the booth one there. So that then when you're DJing and you're recording on one of them, the other one is the one that you're altering the volume in the room. So you start a set and it's not very loud, so you've got your volume down. Let's just show you on this one. You've got your volume, your master volume down, and you start a set. And then as people arrive, you're turning it up and up and up and getting louder and louder. But the booth volume stays the same because you're recording this. So you don't want to be messing with that volume because the volume will go up or down on the recording. So this stays the same, but this is the one you use to alter the volume in the room. That's why we would plug a recorder into a separate output. Of course, if you're using a Pioneer DJ Pro Club mixer or other brands of Pro Club mixers, the back of those have got a record output in them. They've got a separate record output, this one here. And so that doesn't have any volume control. So it doesn't matter what you do with any of your volume controls, as long as your volumes are set okay on the individual channels, it will record the whole mix there in without the volume going up or down as you're altering either the booth volume or the volume to your audience. Because in a pro environment, of course, you might have speakers near you, like I've got here, controlled by the booth level, and then you've got your master volume controlling what the crowd can hear, and then that third record input is the one you use to record your set, independently of both of those volume controls on the top of your DJ mixer. So there's a kind of crash course on the way music comes out of DJ mixers and DJ controllers. But the bottom line for your question there is just get yourself the cable that's got the right socket on each end, and it'll probably work no matter which one you plug it into. They do exist. Amazon is your friend for finding that kind of stuff. We've got about 15 minutes left. We're live here in the Digital DJ Tips studios, and we're answering all your questions about DJing, well, as many as we can. But do remember that if we can't answer your question, and if you ask it on Facebook, you will get an answer over there from us. So do use Facebook because we can get to you in the week. My team will all get to you in the week. Right. So this is from Joe, who says, hi Phil, I was wondering if there's some sort of device I can use for playing samples when running vinyl records only. I don't want to use DJ software or a computer. This is a great question. I've actually got something here that I can recommend to you. So you'd potentially want something like one of these if you're really going to get into it. So I'll put them both carefully on top of this Numark NS4FX so I can show them to you. I've got here the Roland SP404 Mark II. Now this, of course, will tuck really nicely next to a DJ setup just because of the shape of it. And then you'll plug, obviously you'll be using record decks, not a controller, and then you plug from that into your auxiliary input. And this has got pads that you can use to do all kinds of stuff. You can build up whole songs on here, but at its very least, you can trigger samples on here. The same with this. This is a sampler as well. So this is the circuit rhythm from Novation. Again, you can have samples on all these slots. Once you've loaded them onto this gear, you don't need a computer or anything. If it were me, I'd probably go for the Roland just because it fits so nicely with DJ gear, as you can see there. But you can get simpler, you know, this cost you a few hundred, but you can get simpler devices. But you know what, I'll give you a really good tip, and someone in the comments will help you with the actual names of software, of apps. Use your phone. Get that little breakout that works from your phone's USB-C or Lightning cable for audio, plug it into your auxiliary input, and you can trigger them on your phone. You can just have a little pad on your phone. There's lots of sample software that let you do that. And yes, you need to use a computer or a bit of work on your phone or whatever to get the samples in, but once you've done that, you can play them without needing a computer, as you say, when you're DJing on vinyl or whatever. Good question. Thank you for that one. We are going to have one or two more questions, I think, today before we disappear for another week, but we will be back next week. Oh, here we go. Look, you see, instantly. Thank you very much for that, Jonathan, who says Koala Sampler. That's the one I was trying to remember. Or Flip from Andrew Huang. Andrew Huang is a total hero in my book because he does great music production, free stuff on YouTube, which if you want to get into music production and just dip your toes in to the water before buying a course or any of that stuff, and look at Andrew Huang's channel. He's also a very amusing guy to watch, very watchable chap. So yeah, he's got a app called Koala. It's called Flip, or you could try Koala Sampler. So thank you for sharing that. So this is from someone on Facebook, on YouTube rather, who says, hi Phil, I would love to have a room like yours with controllers, etc. Very, very nice. Yes, it is a fun workplace, I have to give you that. Right, this is from Thomas, who says there are some rumours about Traktor updates, flexible beat grids, and possible new hardware. Any more information? Well, we know there's new hardware coming, and we know that there are updates coming to Traktor. I haven't heard any rumours about flexible beat grids, which of course is the big thing that is missing on Traktor compared to all DJ software nowadays. But yeah, no, I haven't heard any more rumours than that. But keep an eye on the site, because as soon as we do, we will share them. So Craig says, hi Phil, can we have a bumper edition of this Q&A? Maybe a Queen's Jubilee special for the UK. I could be here for hours soaking it up like a sponge. I love it. We've actually talked about doing like a charity 24-hour Q&A where we kind of set up some kind of tip jar or something and try and raise money. So never say never on that. We might well do that one day. Right then, I'm looking for questions to end off with today. I've got one here about playing out. We always like to see 5 areas of DJing that we teach: gear, music, techniques, playing out, and promoting yourself. And I do like to have a mix. So here was a question that I spotted from one of our YouTube viewers saying, and this person was, let's get your name, Mr. Dubs. I did a set at a bar and I had the manager complaining about people dancing too much. What a weird complaint. Have you had it and how do you deal with it? Well, look, you might say that's a weird complaint, but it's not that weird, because the bar manager wants people to buy drinks. And if people aren't buying drinks, they're not making the money to pay you or anyone else. The key is, and this is a piece of advice I give all DJs who are trying to figure out how to please the management and to please everyone in the room. There is actually a win-win here. And the win-win is this: unless people are on extremely good drugs or are very, very young indeed, no one's going to dance all night, right? So people are going to want to have a rest. So your job when you're warming up the club is to get as many people dancing as possible, right? And get the atmosphere going, because that makes people stay and then they buy drinks. Once the club is full, your job is not to keep that dance floor packed with those people you've now got on the dance floor. It's to rotate the people on the dance floor. So once the dance floor is full, you're looking at the people who are sat down. You're looking at the edges. You're looking at the people who aren't having a good time and saying, what can I do to make them have a good time? And the chances are what you do to make them have a good time will make the people who are currently on the dance floor say, oh, I want to take a break now. This is not my kind of thing at the moment. Then they'll go off and have a drink. They'll go off and spend a bit of money, and then you do it with a third set of people, and you're rotating, cleverly rotating the club like this: dance floor, rest, drink, dance floor, rest, bar. And by the end of the night, you've got a mishmash of everyone loving everything, and people actually prefer that. They prefer to hear a bit of everything and see changes and see, you know, the color changing and the vibe changing, as opposed to staying the same all night. And that will also please the venue owner. So try and rotate the dance floor when you've got it full. So thank you very much to Craig, who says awesome streams as ever. Thank you, Phil and the crew. You're loving it today, aren't you, Craig? Thank you for that. Stephen says, great show, Phil. I'm a new FLX6 owner and I'm very confused with the effects. Any advice? So the Pioneer DJ FLX6, ignore that big knob that does all kinds of weird stuff. There's really 3 effects that you want to worry about. Forget the rest until you've got a good reason not to. And they are the filter. We've already talked about the filter. It's on all DJ gear. It's this big knob here. The filter. And then the other 2 that I would say play with are echo and reverb. And as long as you've got something you like to do with those 3, you're going to be ahead of most DJs. Filters will throw stuff back in the mix instantly so that you can't hear it as well as the non-filtered tracks. So they can be a very good way of mixing between 2 tracks when you're not using the EQs. Echo and reverb, the best use of these 2 is when you're transitioning, because you can dial an echo in, pull a track out, it will slowly echo out of the mix like this, and then you can bang another track in and everything stays in rhythm. Same with reverb, you get a nice big reverb sound. It's just a good way of switching genres, switching BPMs, because you can stick the reverb on, take a track out, and it will still play, it will still very graciously exit the room, if you like, and then while that's happening you can wait a few seconds and drop something else in. So if you master those 2, echo and reverb, and then add in some filter for your mixes, frankly you don't need anything else when it comes to using the effects. And you know, one thing a lot of DJs do, especially new to digital DJs, is they worry about using all the stuff that's on their controllers. And you don't need to, you know, especially if you've come to DJing from a break. You used to use CDJs, you used to use vinyl, and you're now using the current crop of gear. Don't get overwhelmed by that. Get to the point where you can do what you used to be able to do. And of course, if you're a new DJ, just get to the point where you can do the basics, and then worry about introducing new stuff. Now, we've got a course at Digital DJ Tips, which I'm going to show you now actually, because it's a good way if you're wanting to know, how do I use all the effects? How do I use the filters? How do I use the loops? How do I use the auto loops? How do I use cutting and slicing and roll and pitch play and all the stuff you get on new DJ controllers that you couldn't get on the older stuff? If you want to know all that stuff, the best thing to do is go to the Digital DJ Tips, head to DJ courses, and scroll down to our mixing courses, which come down here. And the one to start with is our Mixing Power Skills course, because Mixing Power Skills is where we take you from understanding the very basics of DJing, in other words, how to beat mix from one deck to another, to understanding how DJs are using the modern stuff, cue points, pitch play, looping, and all that kind of thing, to do the kind of tricks that you see them doing to blend BPMs and blend styles and blend, you know, decades of music that are very, very different from each other. This course teaches you all that stuff. So if you want to take that leap, don't do it on your own. Get a course, and the best course to get from us is the Mixing Power Skills course. And again, you'll find that at the top of the website on that courses tab, where you'll find all of our courses. Remember, we've got stuff from Jazzy Jeff, Laidback Luke, DJ Angelo, James Hype. He's done a production course now with us, as well as his DJ course. An awful lot for you to choose from there. And the other question about our courses, actually, that people ask us all the time is, look, I'm new to this, I'm serious about it. What do I go for? What course would you recommend me to go for at the very beginning? And the answer is always the same. It's our best-selling course and has been for many, many years now. Is the Complete DJ course. The Complete DJ course is the course that's based around our book. And our book is the best-selling book on Amazon on how to DJ. It's based around 5 big areas of DJing, and they're outlined on page 7 of this book. The 5 big areas of DJing are gear, music, techniques, playing out and promoting yourself. They're all listed here. And that's the way the complete DJ course works. It's got modules that are based around those 5 big areas, and it brings the book to life. It's me, and it's like you're behind the decks with me, and we're going through every single part of the very beginning of DJing all the way through to playing your first gigs or recording your first mixtapes or doing your first live streams. It is a great course. It's one that, as I say, it's consistently our bestseller, and for good reason. It's already on a completely second edition, and everyone who buys it gets all the updates for free. So you buy it now. When we release edition 3 of this, you'll get that for free, and so on. This is the course we want you to own, just like we want you to own the book. And actually, that leads me on to reminding you that if you are new to digital DJing, you do want a copy of our book, you can buy it. It's an audio book with me reading it on Audible and Apple Books and stuff. You can buy it in bookstores. You can get it for Kindle. It's out there, but if you just want the PDF and you don't want to pay for it, I want you to have it. It's easy. Just go to that URL there, and we'll give you a copy of this. And we'll give you a copy of our gear guide, which will stop you making expensive DJing purchases that are wrong for you. And in fact, the gear guide's just been revised right now. It's going to have videos in it and stuff. It's going to be all modern, so then you'll get that one as soon as it comes out as well, of course. But more importantly, when you join us, again, there's the URL, you get our weekly emails, which will help you become a better DJ. We put free lessons in there from like Jazzy Jeff and DJ Angelo and so on. We put mixes in there, but also reviews and features and tutorials and all that stuff. And you get that every week, all for free, and it doesn't cost anything to join. digitaldjtips.com/join. Right, let's go grab 1 or 2 more final questions before we say goodbye for today. Loads and loads and loads of questions coming in, but let's do a beginner DJ. Oh, how nice of you, Jose. Jose says, I love the complete DJ course. It's what got me started on this wonderful DJ venture, and it still helps me tremendously. So thank you very, very much for that. And DJ Purple Freak, thank you so much for your great advice and info. We appreciate. I am humbled and always happy to do this. As I've always said to everyone who listened, from my mum onwards, it beats working. Right, let's grab a question then. This is from Pete Marr, who says, a simple question about when you're DJing with increasing BPMs, one after one after one. So the DJ needs to increase the BPM after the first song's end and match the second one. Yes, exactly. So again, one of our tutors, Jazzy Jeff, he's very good at this. If you want to go from 90 BPM to 120 BPM and you've got 2 hours, you can go up 1 or 2 BPM a time. And the way you do that is you'd probably bring the incoming track down a little bit, so it's a couple of BPM lower than where it should be, to mix it in with the current track. And once you've mixed it in, you'll just very gently nudge that BPM up. Every now and then, just a little nudge, no one ever notices. So you end a couple of BPMs higher than you began, and then you do the same again and the same again. And there's lots and lots of DJs that will mix very smoothly between BPMs that way. There's other ways of mixing between BPMs, literally massive ways where you're changing a huge BPM. We teach stuff in our mixing power skills course. We show you how to double and half the BPM. We show you how to basically get into any other track and make it sound good, no matter what the BPM or the genre. There's lots of other ways of doing it, but you can do it in a very subtle way by just very slowly nudging the BPMs, as we were talking about there. People, I have to go now. We've had the whole hour and I've got to go. Well, I'll be honest with you. I've got to nip across to the supermarket and get some stuff for our dinner. And I've got a family waiting at home. I do all the cooking in our house. Let me tell you, let's end with a story. Let me tell you why Phil Morse does all the cooking in his house. When I met my wife, Faye, who is now our production manager here at Digital DJ Tips, she was working a full-time job and I was a full-time DJ, which meant I was working Friday night, Saturday night, sometimes Sunday night as well. I was spending the week buying records, getting up late. When we moved in together, I said, well, look, I might as well do all the cooking because you come home from work at 6 o'clock at night I can have a meal on the table. And she's like, I'll go for that. And I actually got really into it. So all those years ago, I was cooking all the meals. And since then, I've never stopped. I absolutely love it. So for me and the kids and my wife, it's carried on that way, even though the days of me working all weekend long and her working all week long have long gone. So I'm still the cook in our house, and I've got to nip to the supermarket now and get our dinner. So I've got to go, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been great to have you here today. Thank you for your kind comments, of which I can see many coming in down on my stream. We'll try and get your names on the screen next time. I don't quite know what stopped me doing that this time, but hey, it's a process of constant improvement on these lives. I'll be back on Tuesday, where we've got our Tuesday tips live, where we'll have a big DJ topic. Could be a review, could be a skill that I teach you, and then I'll be back I think I'm back next Thursday. It was one Thursday soon is a bank holiday and I won't be here, but apart from that, we're here most Thursdays. We are taking a break over summer to give you an advanced notice of that. So in July and August, there'll be no live shows at all. But then of course, we'll be back in September for another academic year of live shows for 9 or 10 months solid. So anyway, that's it from us here today. Get good, get out there, make the moments. And from me, Phil, here in the Digital DJ Tips studio with all the equipment we've been looking at today and all the stuff that we've covered. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you again very soon. Until then, bye-bye.